All right, y'all, we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business today. Gonna check out its local search or city search, see if either of them got BSS. So we're here in the GBC universe, taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture, and more about that. Pinned post, pinned video, home video, whatever. And that's because the FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. Those that are rising are doing a good job bringing in people from the entire intent ladder here, from the left high intent all the way to the right, the lowest intent peeps, or at least generating awareness. And the ones that are falling are, you know, missing some chunks of intent, some intent chunk somewhere, causing them to fall. So here we're focusing on BSS. We're way over on the left, the basically the intent ladder. The highest intent people list people searching social search on all the social networks or on Google for, boudoir photo shoot in their city. That's what we focus on here. Then way at the end, focus on BLCS, boudoir low click syndrome. That's the other brand, boudoir FB ad doctor. On our other profiles, where right now we're only working with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. But those are the lowest intent people, but that's the largest group in every city. The people that are not searching for boudoir photo shoot right now. So we're only talking about the two kind of extremes at the moment. All right, so BSS, boudoir search sameness. As when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 1 slots on page 1 of Google. If we got 0 slots, I mean, we're dead. That's because we know approximately 80% of Google searches never go to page 2. They're page 1 only searches, which means this is who we care about. This is the bulk of the market, approximately 80% of the market. And we're invisible to them if we're not on page 1. So 0 slots, we're dead. 1 slot, we're also basically dead because we're looking the same as every other boudoir photographer who also has 1 slot. And then, there's 10 slots Google page 1 organic. So, if everyone's a boudoir photographer, they all got 1 slot, then basically the buyer's just going to click down through, open everyone's link, everyone's website on page 1, because we assume they won't go to page 2. And, contact everyone, price quote everyone, price shop everyone, whatever. And so 1 slot's not good either. We want to actually, our goal is to hit the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10, because we'll actually be kicking off our competitors off page 1 a large amount, and we'll actually be standing out, most likely being the only one with 3 out of 10 links there. Now, 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. Extremely common, but not normal, is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are, one, basically everyone knows about, market saturation, and one basically nobody knows about, the false belief of page 1 equality. So first we'll hit market saturation. It seems to happen kind of every week. Someone gets a new iPhone, start up their Google My Business profile, throw up their website saying they now offer boudoir photo shoots, saturating the market, more sellers for the same number of buyers. Or someone gets a new camera, then they start posting in the mom Facebook groups saying that they offer boudoir photo shoots now. So market saturation means more sellers to the same number of buyers, making it harder for every current boudoir photographer that is a seller. Now, this next one is massive, the false belief of page 1 equality. So this is, from what I've seen, the #1 killer of boudoir photography businesses, because this is assuming, so the belief of page 1 equality is, which I'll show as a false belief, is we're falsely believing that every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google search. And so, if you got 1 slot on page 1, cool. If the market gets saturated, you get pushed down. Now you're on page 2. Oh, that's fine. Everyone gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. That's simply how it is. This is a false belief. It's false because Google will actually give as many page 1 links as to the person who puts in the effort to acquire them. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 page 1 links to 9 out of 10 page 1 links. Literally, I own 90% of the organic search surface in 10 days Why? Because I wanted those slots and I went and took them. I put in the effort to take them. Google gives the slots to those who puts in the effort to take them. We'll see that in like 3 or 4 pictures from now, or maybe, yeah, somewhere around that number. So it's a false belief, which makes people do nothing. If they believe this, that everyone's entitled to 0, 1 slot, every boudoir photographer is entitled to 0, 1 page slots, page 1 slots on Google, they'll do nothing. They'll be like, oh, this is reality operating normally. Yeah, I was there, I got kicked off. Hopefully someone shuts down their website, so maybe Google will bring me back on. No, incorrect. Google wants to give these slots to those who want to put in the effort to take them. And because people go on page 2, they disappear, and eventually their business disappears too. Because again, if you're on page 2 or later, you're invisible to approximately 80% of the Google searchers. So the bulk of the market. We also know that a boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. So we got our building up our universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. So, and disappearing boudoir photographer, this is the canary in the coal mine for eventually a disappearing boudoir photography business, is if we got 0, 1 slots on page 1, eventually we'll be kicked off to page 2, and then it's all downhill from there. So it's a solution. We got the solution here. BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka our S-cubed methodology. And we know this because we invented it. That's what we've been using. So this is exactly what I used to go from 0 out of 10 slots to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in 10 days. And it works with saturating social search, the high intent keywords, saturating those. So people search on social, they find us, the bulk, hopefully all, we're like the only ones showing up. And as a result, that flows through to Google page 1 search. Dominating Google page 1 search is the outcome, the outflow of dominating or saturating social search. So it all flows, saturating social search is like the river at the top of the mountain, the glacier at the top of the mountain that's melting, and the river at the bottom, the Amazon River, is all that work saturating page 1 on Google. And I know this because I've done it. Now, once true with the S-cubed methodology, we have page 1 visibility. Nice. We're no longer at 0, 1 slots on page 1. We do want to hit the GBC minimum, though, with 3 out of 10 slots on page 1. And that's because if we got 3 out of 10 slots on page 1, we're definitely crushing the people that got 0 slots. We're definitely crushing the people that only got 1 slot, because they look like nothing compared to us. And it's very rare someone actually has 2 slots. But even in that case, we are looking greater than them because they only got 2 slots. We got 3. People subconsciously wonder, why is this photographer why does Google keep pushing them? They must be good and give them so many slots on page 1. The extra bonus of using the S-cubed methodology is it kicks competing boudoir photographers off page 1, effectively making them invisible. Is the same for social search, but kind of what we're talking about on Google. It's only 10 organic slots page 1. Kicks them off, and as a result, we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never go to page 2. They're page 1 only searches. So approximately 80%, the bulk of the market's never going to see those competitors if they go to page 2, which means we're not being price shopped against them. We're not being, price shop, price compared, getting quotes from everyone. I mean, if we can get 5 links organic page 1 on Google, that means only 5 links left for other competitors, and we've kicked off 4 other competitors back onto page 2. So 9 competitors, we're competing against only 5 other peeps. Get smaller the more we dominate page 1. Now, page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. Okay, people can actually see us, because hopefully we've hit the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10. And a boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer. So it's the goal, it's kind of minimum, hitting 3 out of 10 links on page 1 to become visible or confidently visible. And we care about the 3 out of 10 number because if we hit 3 out of 10, we're probably, treading water. Probably not disappearing. we're at minimum treading water, and also could possibly be most likely growing. Because remember, this is the result, the outflow of dominating social search. So anytime if we're multiple slots page one on Google, we already got way more than that. Multiple slots page one, many more on these social networks. People search these highest intent keywords. So Google is kind of a less than filter. So this is our universe here. Disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. It's fine, we got the solution now. Utilize S-cube methodology, achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. So now my own results using this, you can see I wanted to rank for this term BLCS boudoir. So we'll go down to the organic slots. So organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Organic slot 2, me. Organic slot 3, me. Organic slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. Dude, I did this in 10 days. Got 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google. So I know for a fact S-cubed methodology got results for me. And I achieved this by social search saturation, S-cubed methodology. All right, main event here. Gonna check out this boudoir photography business. Gonna see if it's local search, city search, if we got BSS here. All right, so we're going to Pooler, Georgia, then Savannah, Georgia. All right, Pooler, Georgia. Boom, we got one. All right, we got one. All right, so we got 1 out of 10 local search. Check Savannah. Let's check Savannah. Boom, we got 1 Savannah. So we got 1 in our city search. All right, so local search, we got 1 out of 10. City search, we got 1 out of 10. So we got BSS for both boudoir search sameness. And for both of them, we did not hit the GBC recommended minimum. 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 of Google search. So if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer, meaning you've gone and done your local search and you've done your city search for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in your city, and you see, you had BSS for one or both of them, or you're not reaching the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search for one or both of them. And you've accepted that the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. You understand Google actually give us as many page 1 slots on Google as we want to put in the effort to acquire. Your CNS cube methodology is the only path to achieve that. And you've actually been waiting for something like this. You're like, oh my God, finally, yes. And you're liking the initial benefits, more slots page 1 on Google, nice. You're liking the second initial benefit, kicking other boudoir photographers off page 1 on Google. Yes, awesome as well. All these obviously increasing probability you get clients. You understand the market saturation. Yeah, peeps get more gear, more boudoir photographers enter the market over time naturally. And you're also thinking ahead like, man, AI is taking a lot of peeps jobs right now already. And, it's going to be taking more and more peeps jobs. And you understand last time that happened, COVID, people lost their jobs, had to earn money. Everyone's got a super powered smartphone with an awesome camera. So boudoir photography is like the easiest thing for people to enter. So massive wave of new boudoir photographers coming in as a result of AI. And because of that, you're looking ahead being like, all right, you're realizing you actually have to not only get all these positions on page 1, you got to fortify these positions on page 1. I have so many links on page 1 that Google wants to rank on page 1 for you, but there's literally not enough slots. You got like backup links, page 2, 3, 4, 5, that you need that basically fortify your position, kind of like fortifying the levee down in Nolens, Louisiana, because the city is actually below sea level, fortifying get it against the ocean. You realize you got to fortify your positions on Google search with so many backup links that no current boudoir photographer competitor would ever hope to rank on page 1, nor any future boudoir photographer competitor coming from AI taking their job could ever rank on page 1. And you're saying again, okay, S-cube methodology is the only solution that can provide that benefit as well. and you want to achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility, because you know you need these things on your journey to becoming the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you're also thinking ahead. Do you understand how SQ methodology is working? We're basically building up these invisible thematic keyword columns on the back end in cyberspace, basically attached to your brand name, your business's name across all your social handles, kind of intertwined and kind of sticking out, poking out from your business. And you're understanding that every day we successfully execute SQ methodology, we're actually increasing the probability up here for us to be recommended an AI overview in search. The most premium placement, we cannot pay to get this placement with ads. This is the #1 most premium placement we want to achieve. And similarly, the other future benefit is, again, related to AI. Every day we successfully execute SQ methodology, we're increasing the probability that AI search apps start recommending us as well. ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. Every day we're kind of building up this back end keyword momentum, AI mindshare momentum for these highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in our city, increasing the probability we get recommended AI search. I remember the last time I did AI search for boudoir photographer in a city, it returned me 3. This was with ChatGPT. I actually went and manually searched that city. Dude, there's around 60 searched on Google and Facebook. And so it's like, we got to get this one of these 3 slots in AI search, or however many slots there are as possible, because AI search is increasing every single day, and standard Google search is decreasing every single day. So you're liking those, but there's those future benefits. You're also liking that, kind of estimated increase probability of building a brand. A well-known brand is estimated to be approximately 8x faster, which the brand helps insulate against market saturation. And also, I'm actually got a brand and you're continuing to use SQ methodology, because you understand that my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city. So you understand you can actually kick out all your competitors from utilizing this technology, and you can get all these benefits, initial and future benefits, build a brand faster, prevent your competitors from using it, build a massive gap in like AI mindshare, backend AI keyword mindshare, to be recommended for AI search and AI overviews, and build a massive gap that basically your competitors will never be able to touch or intrude upon. And that's why I've decided to be a first mover, because you know that conversely, if one of your boudoir photographer competitors would just be in your city would sign on with me first, then what would actually happen is they would get all those benefits. You'd be kicked off page 1, maybe even kicked off page 2 as well, relegated page 3 or deeper. You would be losing, basically building up no AI mindshare, while me and your competitor are building up massive momentum, massive AI mindshare in the back end, invisible thematic keyword columns over and over and over again, reinforcing that repetition, relevance, authority, age, increase the probability they build that up on us. And as a result, we actually, me and your competitor building up this massive gap, and you would not have access to our technology. So what you'd have to do is you'd have to recreate SQ method, rederive it for yourself. And you would never actually be 100% confident you've derived it correctly. You would then have to execute it equally to us every single day, put in the time and effort to do that. And if you were to do that, you're simply maintaining the gap, meaning your competitor already have, way ahead of you. So you'd have to actually double or triple our output every single day to be able to start pulling back the AI keyword mindshare back towards you, away from me and your competitor. And again, you would never be 100% confident you've actually derived the methodology correctly. So probably wouldn't feel confident putting that much time into it. And then even if you did, dude, who's got 80 hours per day to be doing all this effort? So you've decided, screw that. You're gonna be the first mover. Get all these benefits, initial benefits, future benefits, prevent your competitors from using this technology. So if that's you, shoot us a DM. Our DMs are currently closed. The hospital is not currently accepting new patients. So when the hospital does come to open back up to accept a new patient, shoot us a DM. We will see if you qualify for utilizing our S cubed methodology.